Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Don Jo number SLP-206 CP. That's what this is. This is a latch protector is what it is. Short SLP, short latch protector is what they call this. I have one removed from the packaging here, and let's take a closer look. Here it is. There's a tremendous variety of latch protectors. This is just one of many. And this video is going to talk about the SLP-206. So, short latch protector, it has this offset that's here. This is meant to be installed onto most likely a single door that will have the door slightly inset, a typical hollow metal door and frame, where the door is moved in from the face of the frame. If you were to run your hand over the face of the frame and the door from the pull side, that door is going to be moved in ever so slightly, about 90 thousandths of an inch. Well, you need to make accommodation for that. And while that offset is certainly more than 90 thousandths of an inch, you might have a strike plate that's hanging off the face of that as well. We'll go over that dimension. This would be an outswing because this would install just like this. Okay, what you're seeing here is a left-hand reverse application. Through bolts will go through the door. Carriage bolts are included. This is going to be made of steel and a chrome plated finish. That's what this is. Let's go over some dimensional properties. This is going to be 6-inch tall. A little shy on that, I suppose. 2 5/8 wide they have it at. A little heavy on that. Okay. Center to center of these screw holes, in case you need to know that. Looks like it's right at about 4.5 inch. Maybe shy on that. Now that offset of the plate itself you can kind of gauge that at about 0.316, so about 5/16 is what I'm coming up with. It's probably a little shy. So from the face here to here, about 5/16. So that's what you have to keep in mind. How much, room do you need to have to get this installed? Where you might also be using this on would be an application not where you have a door that's inset more than average, or a lip that's hanging off. You might have a wood door and a wood frame, and you've got some sort of trim on the outside, some weird condition where there's a jam extension or something's happening, and you need a little more offset to that plate, and that's what that would be for. And I'll run through that with you in a moment. This does include a couple of carriage bolts. I'm quite sure that these are 5/16, but they look a little, I think they're 5/16. Yeah. They're carriage bolts, and that means that they'll have a square profile underneath the head, and that's going to prevent that bolt from spinning at all. So you really have nothing out here to attack. Okay. You'll have a couple of washers, because there are 2 bolts, and then acorn nuts. Okay, this is literally intended for an 1 3/4 inch thick door. That's what you're going to see on the inside. Don Jo also has a low profile version of this called the EBF. I'll show you that as well, and I'll show you why I will show why you might need to consider the EBF version. This preparation here, this is for a 3 3/4 rose diameter. So the bottom line is, depending on the trim, whether it be a small sectional trim on a mortise lock, or it might be a grade 2 knob or a grade 1 lever, you need to be mindful that the radius of this preparation that's here is going to need to be directly related to the lock you're sticking it onto, so that you can make sure that you can get it moved over far enough to install it so that it is effective in its installation. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at some supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, now here is the item that we're looking at. We have some images posted down below. We'll take a look at that. In its packaging, the latch protector itself, little side view there showing, and that's that 0.31 dimension we came up with. Really showing that detail again, along with the prep for the carriage bolt. Whoops. showing the carriage bolt preparation itself, the underside of the unit, again what that looks like, and then the bolts that are included. Extended description information down below. First, let's take a look at the other finishes that are available. BP for brass plated, CP for chrome plated, DU for dark bronze. They call it, sometimes they call it oil rubbed. They shouldn't. It's a dark bronze powder coated finish. They have an SL, that is a silver powder coated finish. You'll notice that they have the EBF version here as well, and I will show you that in the catalog, what it refers to. But 4 different finishes are available. Short type for outswinging doors. Yeah, 6 inches, relatively short. If you've got a single lock, this would probably be appropriate. Made from 12 gauge steel. I'd have to just do a quick internet search to see what 12 gauge was in terms of decimal thickness. My caliper tells me that this is 0.104 inch thick. 0.104. And by the way, it weighs about 0.58 pound with its fastener package. Carriage bolts, acorn nuts, washers, hollow metal doors and frames, up to a 3 3/4 rows. 3/8 offset, they call it. Okay, I'm coming up shy on that. I thought I was. But they say it's a 3/8 offset. The size, the finish, when you buy one, we'll send you one. Here's the template. Let's look at that 3/8 offset. Okay, and that's what the factory's coming up with. My caliper was getting down in here a little bit. So 3/8 is what the factory says, along with all of the other dimensions that may be important for you to be able to review. Okay. They also give you that 1 7/8 dimension to where the offset, the bend, starts in that item. Now, the product catalog, let's look at that. And our first stop is going to be testing what those EBF fasteners are for. And here it is. This EBF fastener, special fasteners to prevent interference with the frame. Available on selected latch protectors as an option. So this EBF fastener is really thin here. Now, where would you use that? Here's where you would use it. You have a okay. You have a door. Slight inset here. In this case, let's imagine that there is some sort of applied molding out here, or the inset is deeper, whatever the case might be. I'm really trying to illustrate the EBF fastener. So when you install the latch guard onto the edge of the door, okay, you've got your lock trim that's going to be sitting in here, right? Well, those fasteners are going to come right in this area. It could be that when you run your bolt through the door, that acorn nut is going to make contact with the face of the stop. That's no good. They do have that EBF fastener, which is a really low profile fastener. So that's where you would use it. If the bolt installation is going to conflict with the face of the stop, is where you would use that. Okay. The last time I sold one of these to a client, he literally had an application where they had applied molding to the brick mold to the face of the wood frame, and the client said, as we were discussing it, he had 2 options. He can go with this greater offset, even though the inside of the door and frame was almost 0, or he could notch all that trim. And I thought it would be most appropriate, don't notch the trim. Leave it as it is. And it just happened to be the thickness of his trim and the offset of this latch guard worked out perfectly together. So that's the way in which the client went. If we were to do a find function on our keyboard for SLP-206, we're going to get to the page where we will find that. It's on page 6G. That's handy because it will allow you to look at the sister products to the SLP-206, the 106 and the 206. The difference is the 106 is stainless steel, the 206 is steel. They have other sizes of these as well. The OSLP, in terms of a different offset, the length of the item as well. But what we've done, though, is we've jumped over a substantial quantity of other latch guards. So if we were to go back to our EBF part of the catalog and then just start scrolling through it, you're going to find a tremendous offering of different types of latch protectors. If your doors swing out, almost all of this catalog applies to you. If your doors swing in, you only need to look at this one. It's an in-swinging latch protector, ILP. Okay. They're available in 6-inch and 12-inch lengths. 6-inch would be for a single lock, 12-inch if you've got a double, lock and a deadbolt kind of thing. They are very effective. I've installed them. I like them because they do two things. They not only prevent access to the latch bolt, but they mechanically engage the door and the frame together, because this part of that jam portion is projecting into this U shape here. I won't narrate looking at all these. There's no reason to do that. Lots of different options, different offsets. If you have a center hung aluminum door that is actually single acting, but it is center hung. It's hung in the center of the frame of the aluminum storefront, but it's a single acting door. This would be an appropriate model for that. Very, very common. The LP211, extremely common. The PLP, very common. The difference is it has a pin here. You would drill a hole into the face of the frame, and that prevents prying or spreading the door and frame. LP107, LP207. These are all very common. I like the CLP106. It's petite, it's elegant, it doesn't detract too much from the door, yet effective. These angle styles, the ALPs, are common as well. Anyway, you get the picture. They're all good options. I would review the entire catalog at length. And if you find that you aren't able to determine the proper one for your application, that's where we come in. Feel free to reach out to us. Now, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page, as seen here. And when we click on that, we're going to be able to pull up not only all of the Don Jo products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, but that full product catalog broken down into subsections. If you know the name Don Jo at all, you probably do for their latch protectors or their wraparound plates. But, as you can see, they make door pivots, they make hinges, they make ladder poles, they make bolts and latches. Lots of things Don Jo makes. A relatively petite yet relatively comprehensive offering of trim and auxiliary material. Let's finish up this video on camera. In conclusion, typical piece of equipment, you're going to want to use latch guards anywhere where there is a risk for loiding, L-O-I-D-I-N-G, loiding the latch bolt. That means, the ubiquitous credit card attack that you see in movies. While that doesn't really happen that way, it's not far from the truth. It's loiding the latch bolt. It's tampering the latch bolt to bypass it. Anywhere where there's a possibility of that. I also like using latch protectors when you have doors that are in very inconspicuous locations, like a dark alley that is in an industrial area that after 5 o'clock, no one is in this neighborhood. Well, leaving that latch bolt open to anyone wanting to loid the latch bolt is a fool's errand. Put a latch guard on there. In fact, I like even more than latch guards. I like a continuous astragal, and I don't believe Don Jo makes them, but an entire length. It's called the security astragal. It's a long piece of steel. If you've got a 7-foot door, it's just shy on 7 foot, and it has that small offset. You can weld that right to the door, or you can through bolt it. That covers the entire gap between the top of the door and the bottom, between the jam, the strike jam, and the lock. Cover all of that. Don't give anyone an angle to attack from. Cover that latch bolt, especially in those inconspicuous areas. It's dark. No one's in that neighborhood. No one's going to see someone tampering with it. It's just too easy, quite frankly. And when it comes to loiding a latch bolt, obviously be sure that you're using security hinges with security features enabled, non-removable pin, security studs, things of that nature. If you have any questions on the Don Jo number SLP-206 latch guard or any other Don Jo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.